damages have to be proven in context. Context is, we're proving three things. We're proving in the context of life experiences. And we're proving three different things here. One, the life of this plaintiff before. Okay, what was his life before? Compare it to what is this plaintiff's life now? What are the losses? What are the differences? And then third, what will this plaintiff's life be like in the future? So you have those three things. Now, in context, I always like to prove in the context of life experiences. So I want to talk to you for a minute. I'm supposed to give a couple of demonstrations here. So let me talk to you about well, let me just give you a demonstration, and then we'll talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today because 3 years ago, on Thanksgiving weekend, Dave Wilson was doing what many of us were doing. He was in his den, getting ready to watch the Longhorns and Aggies do battle on the gridiron. When Ann, his wife, walked in, and she said, "Dave, I don't have any hot water. The heater's out." So Dave said, "Fine." So he goes down to the utility room. So we see Dave go to the utility room. He kneels to read the instructions on the water heater. He smells the faint odor of gas, and he finds that the pilot light's gone out. So he reads the instructions. The instructions say, when the pilot light goes out, wait a few minutes and then light it again. Now, in this case, you would put that up on the board so they're reading it with you, obviously. Dave follows the instructions carefully, thinking, as we all would, that the gas shut-off valve on the water heater will work the way the manufacturer said it would. Now, we see Dave go back down during halftime, go back to the utility room where he no longer smells the gas odor. He takes a long wooden match and he strikes it on the concrete floor. And we see him as he reaches in to put the flame next to the pilot light. Then we see a look of instant panic on Dave's face as he hears the whoosh sound. He sees the flickers and the flash and then the flames, and he feels the searing heat. Dave doesn't realize that the pungent odor rushing up to his nostrils is from the singeing and charring of his own flesh. We see Ann rush to the basement, and she sees Dave. As she hears his screams, they're emerging from this large ball of orange fire. And she hears his tormented cries. They managed to cover him up and put the fire out, but it's so late. Like a lobster thrown into a boiling pot, this gentleman is cooked from his ankles to the top of his head. Not an inch of skin is spared from that awful blaze. Not his ankles, not his thighs, not his stomach, not his chest, not his ears, which are burned off. We see more than 4 weeks, 32 long days and nights drag by in the hospital burn unit. Ann is sitting constantly by his side. Days and nights of Dave and Ann measured minute by minute by minute of misery, pain, anguish, despair, hopelessness, until Dave finally finds the only peace that's available to him, the peace of death. Sometimes in the quiet and lonely hours of the night, Ann still hears the echoes of Dave's screams, and she awakens to her own screams. And the vision of Dave, her husband, father of her children, the love of her life, the vision of him captured in that fiery ball of flame. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why we're here. Because Dave Wilson trusted this manufacturer and followed the instructions on the water heater with the shutoff valve that didn't really shut off the gas the way the manufacturer promised it would. Okay. What you're doing is you're tying in, these are normal life experiences, okay? So you're tying in their life experiences with the same life experiences you have. People resonate to life experiences. We make our decisions based upon our life experiences. A lot of other people were sitting there on that Thanksgiving weekend watching football like Dave was. But Dave ended up dead. Why? Because of this manufacturer. Now, what you do is you can test an argument like that, and you can test your damages with focus groups. Focus groups will give you they'll give you the information that you really need. They'll give you your themes. They'll give you the language of your case. You give them a presentation of vanilla facts and listen to how they discuss them. Listen to how, and a lot of times I'll just ask them for metaphors. I'll say, finish this sentence for me. And then I'll give them the facts of the electrocution of that baby, for example. And I'll say, okay, now, this defibrillation is just like, and everybody write down their answers and see what they come up with. They'll come up with much better stuff than I can, I promise you. They're extremely valuable.